Yeah.
All right. Hello, folks. We are live. I'm going to pull back the music a little bit so we can chat. All right. I see yes. And Chad, could you give me a quick sound check, please?
Yeah. Test 1, 2, 3.
Okay. I hear you just fine. I see your audio being good. Yeah, I think we should be all set. And folks in the chat room, if you have a hard time hearing us, please let us know right away. All right, so a very good morning if you are joining us East Coast or Eastern side of the Americas. Good afternoon, good evening for the rest of the world. Probably still too early for West Coast. But welcome to Code It Live. This is our channel where we talk about a bunch of different technologies throughout the week, and Fridays are our ways to kind of chill and relax. And with me, I have a very special guest, but let me take one quick look here.
Oh, I got you now.
Okay. Was I turned off in Skype?
You were going in and out for a moment.
Okay. Got you. Okay. Yeah, I think we are still looking good. Yeah. All right. So I am Sam Basu. I am a developer advocate here at Progress Software, and you saw it in the schedule. I try streaming 4 times a week. We do Site Trinity CMSs on Monday. We do Unity on Tuesdays. Thursdays are Xamarin and XAML Technologies, and Fridays are ChatShow. I actually did not stream all of this week and part of last week, which I'm actually going to maybe talk to Chad about. So interesting things about our setups and things that need to be in place. But let me welcome my very good friend Chad Green to the show. Chad, thank you for taking the time, and please introduce yourself.
Well, thanks for having me. So my name's Chad Green. I live in Louisville, Kentucky. So during the day, I am director of software development at a company called ScholarX, where we make medical or educational platforms for medical students. And during the night and every other time, I do a lot of community stuff. So I run Copalooza, I run several user groups, and I do a daily live stream here on Twitch.
Yeah. Yeah, so Chad is a fellow streamer. So Chad, feel free to put your Twitch handle in the chat if you want. I love hanging out Chad's streams and all the things that he does with Azure, and you're kind of building up the Codepalooza site as we go along. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So I have known you for years and years now, and you're awesome. So let's start with you. You described a little bit of what you do, but I also know you as a huge community advocate for all the things you have done over the years. So tell us, how did you get started in tech?
Well, I was pretty much born into this. So my father's actually a software developer.
Nice.
So I tell people, well, I started writing computer programs when I was 7. And when I talk to younger folks, they're like, "Why so late?" I'm like, "Well, that was 1977." But it's funny. I actually took a little bit of a break from that because right out of Marine Corps, or right out of high school, I went into the Marine Corps, where I didn't write code. I actually
thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you. I did paperwork for aircraft, that was actually a lot of fun. But then when I got out, I got back into programming, and I've been professional programming since '94.
Wow.
I've been doing it for a long time. Every day it's just more fun. Right? I just love doing it.
Yeah, as long as we feel passionate, we are having fun and we're learning all along. Time flies, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. How would you describe what you do to a 4-year-old? Because I have a 4-year-old, and a lot of the times they see us just banging on our keyboards.
It's funny. Actually, I asked someone this question the other day, who has a 4-year-old also.
Nice.
And he was talking about how he saw a PBS show, and they were equating it how it's providing instructions to the computer.
That's right.
And he's like, well, that's what Daddy does. Is I tell the computer what to do.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that's sort of what I do. Although I spend more of my time figuring out how to tell the computer what to do and actually tell the computer what to do.
Right, right. I've also heard people kind of bring in the video game aspect of it to say, like, you see how the characters move? That's what daddy or mommy does.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Now, how long have you been streaming?
I just started beginning of May, so it's about a month and a half.
Oh, wow.
It's still pretty new for me.
Yeah, well, for what it's worth, then in a short amount of time, your production quality is really wonderful. It's excellent.
Well, I spent like 3 months prior to it, reading everything I could to.
Right. Yeah. So I was mentioning at the start, like how I took a little break because I realized there were some things I just had to fix, and one of the basic things is network, because we are pushing out a lot of bits, and we need the bandwidth to pull it off. So this is where, and Chad lives in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm in Northwest Pennsylvania, and one of the fun things we have in slightly not so cosmopolitan areas in the US is monopolies for cable companies. They love having their zones where it's only one type of service. I mean, so for me, I can get like a local provider, which I cannot quite depend on, but the big one is Spectrum. And it's fine. It's been okay for us, but I was trying to shoot for like the highest level of internet I could get, and that's the gigabit speeds. And you essentially draw a fiber optic line. And Chad, you mentioned you have a gigabit internet as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Also through Spectrum, actually.
Oh, nice. So what they do here for me, that's what I was trying to upgrade this week, and I took a break. So they said, we will send somebody out to draw a fiber optic line from the box to your home. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like that's exactly what I want. But the rest of it is carried over copper. And I was like, that's not how this is supposed to work. It's not really fiber at that point, because you're faking it. And
Right.
yeah, so it's carried over coaxial wires, and so the limiting factor, if it's not truly fiber, is your upload speeds are capped at like 30, 40. And I mean, if you were truly fiber, then you can really go way higher.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I did. At least I got the best of whatever I could get. Let me pull back the music just a tad more, because we're not coding here, so we don't need it that high. Okay. Yeah, well, on coding days, I need all the support, because I struggle.
Exactly.
I struggle. This is professional software development. We struggle as we go, and we're sharing the experience. Yeah. So congratulations, Chad, on starting up a stream, which looks excellent and very polished, and you're doing some amazing things. We'll get to Codepalooza and some of the things you're doing as well. But let's talk about your job a little bit more. What's exciting? What motivates you in what you do?
Well, so the cool part, I mean, so my job, so I'm director of software development, but I basically wear a lot of different hats, which was that was why I was brought on, right? They wanted someone who could write code, although I actually have yet to written anything that's gone to production, which is kind of fun. But I do a lot of proof of concepts and architectural work. Like right now we're dealing with a problem. We generate about 50 gigs a month, and by October we're going to hit a terabyte on our database. And the problem with that is our monthly costs are going to go up tremendously. And not that we can't afford it, but we don't want to, right? Mm-hmm. So right now we're working on some strategies to minimize some of the growth, move some of the bigger elements out of the database into the cache or storage, which is really where it should be anyways, because it's just blobs. But the point is, I mean, so like this week, I've spent a lot of time just doing some quick proof of concepts, making sure this is going to work. It's going to be still as fast as it is, because we pride ourselves on our application being really, really fast. It was funny. My second day at the job, I go to a meeting about performance, and we're like, well, we got this one problem that's taking 14 seconds. And we were talking about how to solve that. And the next problem was taking 3 seconds. And then everything else was like less than a second, but it was too slow. And I sat there, I'm like, where I just came from? We were ecstatic with that 14-second response time. So I get to do a lot of different things with it. And that's part of what I really like about, technology and progressing through technology. Along with it, I get to work with a lot of great guys. So like, I had to have you hold off and call me a moment ago because I was actually finishing up a one-on-one.
Oh,
And,
nice.
I love doing those one-on-ones. I do them every other week with all my folks, and along with several peers and so forth. And which is a great way to really get to know your folks and have a connection with them, especially because we're remote anyways. But even more so because now we can't even go out for lunch or anything because of the pandemic. So I think the ones become even more important.
Yeah. That's amazing. Now, I mean, speaking of the pandemic, I mean, we are all home. How are you doing? How are you holding up? How's the family?
So everyone's doing really well. The funny part is for me, it's it's the same. I'm not traveling as much, which is why I haven't seen you since January.
All right.
But the weirdest part is my daughter's now home 100% of the time because she's a grad student up in Boston. But so she's been home since late March, and it was funny when she first got home and she was still taking class. I was so used to no one being home other than the dog during the day.
Right.
And so I would listen to music really loud while I'm working. And she came down one day. She's like, "Dad, you need to turn it down. I'm in class." So okay.
Yeah, it's been challenging for just about everybody, right? I mean, even if like we have been remote for like our team has been remote for years and years, everybody is remote, and having kids at home, having maybe other elders at home, it's challenging to kind of balance everything. So, we are asking everybody that empathy is the word of our times. Just like let's just all be kind to each other. Yeah.
Well, plus, Scott Hanselman said it best. That quarantine work is not the same thing as work from home.
Exactly.
Even for people who work from home, it's not the same thing during this period.
Absolutely. Now, aside from all that you do at work, you almost have like a full-on second job, and that is your community involvement. And I have known you again in this form for years and years for what you do in the developer community. So thank you for all that you do. I remember going to Codepalooza in my early days of like starting out to speak. So that's how far back you go, and you've been already organizing conferences for years now. So tell us about Louisville, Kentucky. Tell us about the dev community and what got you started in putting together Codepalooza in the first place.
Sure. So I started getting more involved in the dev community because I wanted to be able to give back. Right. I'd already been in my career for quite a while. And about 11 or 12 years ago, I started getting more involved. Right. A little bit of speaking, a little bit of helping out with user groups. And about 11 years ago, I took over the .NET group here in Louisville. Actually, at the time, we still had two groups, but I took over the one that's still around. And shortly after that, Jeff Blankenberg actually reached out to us. That's when he was an evangelist for Microsoft.
I remember.
And he was like, "Hey, why don't you start a day of .NET?" And that'd be cool. I said, "But what if instead of just .NET, let's do other technologies? And what if instead of just targeting like 50 people, we target like 150 people, and let's have more than one track, right?" And that's how Codepalooza got started, right? And our first year we had 289 people. We had it was awesome because a lot of speakers were MVPs. It was the same week as the MVP Summit, and actually they all flew in from Seattle to Louisville to speak, which I was extremely humbled at the point because at that point most everyone didn't know who I was. It was just a guy starting a conference, just shows you how awesome the developer community is, right? People saw, hey, here's a guy starting a conference. Let's go to that. But it's sure not. I mean, over the last 2 years, the dev community in Louisville has really built up. We have Codepalooza. I mean, it's like non-pandemic times. It's like every night you can go to a different user group. Mm-hmm. It's actually been kind of fun trying to start another group because hard time is figuring out what day in the month you can do it.
Right.
It's like every day there's something going on.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, we have an organization called Code Louisville, which is all about training people who've never coded before on how to code. And which is great because, I mean, number one, it's definitely getting people who need a leg up, but it's brought a lot of diversity into the community. Because you're seeing a whole lot more, people of color and more women are coming through that. And I've always applauded that group because of that reason. Because, as you well know, we need more diversity in tech, and things like that have really helped.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, to me, like the developer community is kind of like a extended group of friends.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it's a community that we can lean on tough times, gain knowledge. Maybe if you're looking for jobs or looking to switch up things, it's a great place to know people and know people who are passionate about their craft and improve yourself. So yeah, I love our dev communities here in the Midwest and really elsewhere as well, everywhere. And how long has Codepalooza been running now?
This year will be our 10th year.
10th year, wow. Well, it's an interesting 10th year, isn't it?
Yes, it's why we said we're going to do something big, and now, now I had to completely change everything and go online and
So folks who are maybe listening in or maybe watching this later on, so Codepalooza is a wonderful conference in Louisville, Kentucky that's been going on for 10 years. I absolutely love going there. It's one of my favorite regional conferences to go to. Lots and lots of speakers, and Chad and the whole team puts on a fabulous show. Food is always great, interactions with everybody, and the quality of speakers you get is it's just amazing. So yeah, tell us about how you are having to pivot this year for Codepalooza.
So it was interesting because our call for speakers was in March. So so you saw the whole big drastic change, and when we started to call for speakers, there wasn't a problem at all. It was all in Asia, so we weren't worried about it. And I quickly moved over here, and I remember we went to, we're still having an event. We're still having an event. Well, okay, we're going to have to do a hybrid event. And then after the call for, actually, as we were already picking speakers, we had to make the decision that, we were going to have to do it completely online. And I've actually been making a big deal that it's not a virtual event. It's an online event. And it was interesting. I was listening to NPR, and they were talking about our mitzvahs being online. And they were interviewing a rabbi, and he said, no, it's not a virtual event because it's real in every sense. So it's an online event, and that's exactly the way how I'm picturing Codepalooza this year. It's going to be as real as possible. We found some really good technology, so people can still connect with each other, still attend all the sessions. And then one of the great parts is because it's all online, everything's easily recordable. So one of the hard parts, so Codepalooza, we generally do 12 concurrent sessions at a time, and everyone always has, I want to go to like 2 or 3 sessions at the same time. Well, that's not a problem, right? Because after the event, you'll be able to watch any of the other sessions you wanted to attend live.
Yeah, I mean everybody is discovering like how to do this right, and thankfully with everything, most things getting virtual, we're getting quite a bit of practice, and we are seeing what works and what doesn't. And I mean it has some unique advantages if you move everything online, like you said. Just the ability to record everything and be able to switch tracks, that's all great. For me, like a big part of what I would miss is like the just in-person interactions. Sometimes we just like sit down at a conference and you chat with somebody about a specific piece of tech that you're into, or just life in general, which is why I'm actually really glad to be able to do stuff like this, where I'm actually sitting down and taking the time to chat with you. So yeah, it's been interesting. I've seen a lot of conferences pivoting and having to do stuff virtual. We did see some things being pulled off really well. So maybe as a community, we kind of all tweak a little bit as to how we run things. Maybe we could always have an bigger online presence, even when we get back to in-person things. Yeah.
Well, and I have been talking to our venue about, for future years of, continuing this, because I mean, the honest truth is, I hope next year we can go back to meeting in person, but I don't think we're going to have the same numbers we had in the past, because I think people are going to be anxious before they go back to, large conferences again. Yeah, in mass numbers.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, even after like we think it's over, like, do you have the appetite to show up in that kind of numbers? So, yeah. Yeah, all right. Well, thank you for putting together Codepalooza over the years. I know it's a tremendous amount of work I have put together, and I still do organize conferences. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's just 1,000 things running full
Yeah.
stream that you have to switch between and keep the show going. So thank you. Yeah. All right, let's come back to some technologies and you and what else you do. So, tell us about any piece of technology, cloud, desktop, mobile, AR, VR, whatever that really excites you nowadays.
So Cosmos has been my big thing for about the last year or so, and in particular, graph databases on Cosmos. Um, Actually, I didn't even know what a graph database was until I needed it,
All right.
and I just kind of stumbled upon it. A couple years ago, I was working on a solution, and very hierarchical data, and we were actually looking to using Cosmos. And one of the things you can do in Cosmos is graph databases, and so I just fell in love with them. So it's one of the things I love talking about. Um, Most of my presentations that were supposed to be this year, that's what most of them were on graph databases. That's how excited I've been about them. And sure enough, that's what we've been doing on the stream. We actually been building a graph ORM because I want to use I want to build a recommendation engine for the Copilot site. So you like this presentation? Well, you probably like these also. All right. And graph databases are really good for that.
Yes.
The hard part is Gremlin is not the easiest language to work with. So like I said, I've been building an ORM last couple of weeks slowly, but we have been making some progress in that. That's been a lot of fun.
Nice, nice, very nice. Okay, so what would you say is your most preferred and treasured tech gadget these days?
I don't know. I definitely think that changes like every other day almost, but honestly, I'm still really in love with this Go XLR that I've got. So it allows me to control all my audio from my streams.
Nice.
It's just kind of fun to watch because it's all motorized.
Mm-hmm.
So like and you can software control it.
Nice.
Like if I mute it in software control, you actually see the slider go down because it's motorized.
Nice.
Which is kind of fun to play with.
Yeah.
Although yesterday I saw a new mic that basically replaces the Go XLR, and now I'm like, oh, I want that, but I've already bought enough equipment recently.
Yeah, I was chatting with somebody yesterday. Like, streaming is it's a great kind of medium for us to share what we do, and especially on times like this where we are all kind of stuck at home. It's really nice to have a community that you can hang out with, people who see what you do and they chime in. And while there is no like barrier to entry, you quickly realize the bottlenecks. Like this is something that needs a little bit of horsepower and things to push it through. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people kind of like wait and try to get everything that they need to start streaming, and that can actually be a never-ending wait because like you always need more things. So I've actually seen like people ramp up over time because I think you will see the needs that you have as you go along, and then you get stuff because again some of the equipment can be expensive obviously. So yeah, yeah, it's good to take our time. All right, cool. Now let's talk about what you do outside of all the tech work that you do, which I don't know how you get any outside free time aside from everything that you do. But what do you like to do when you do have some downtime?
Well, I mean, sure enough, I mean, it's almost a cliche answer, but I love just writing code, right? But which is why why I do so many things, right? But I mean, I do some other things. I mean, one, just hanging out with the family, right? And even if it's just sitting down on the couch watching TV, right? But it just being with them.
Okay, hang on one second, folks. I think I lost Chad on Skype. Chad, can you hear me? I still have the call on. hang on 1 second, folks. I lost Chad.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Okay. I'm not sure either. So I don't know where I cut off, but I was talking about how the other thing I like to do is working on Legos.
Working Legos? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, while we were having, the chat room was having fun. Sean, 122, because like you froze up on a frame where your eyes were closed. I was like, you were sleeping.
I saw that.
Yeah, so Legos is a lot of fun. What kind of stuff do you do?
Mostly Star Wars stuff. Right. So right now I'm actually building the Star Destroyer.
Nice.
Which is, I mean, this thing's massive. It's been a lot of fun putting that together.
Nice. I have never been into Legos until 4 years back or 3 years back, since now we have a kid. So I'm kind of starting from the grassroots, and it's fun to kind of see like the Marvel line of things, and some of it is starting to get a little complicated. But I mean, this is the stepping stone, so we can keep on building more and more complex things as we go along. Yeah. What's your favorite cuisine? What do you like to eat?
Well, I can tell from my size, I like to eat a lot of things.
Me too.
I guess probably my three favorite things. I mean, I love pasta. I really love hamburgers and a really good steak.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. And of those, I guess a really good steak was probably, and I've been working on how to make those even better.
Yeah, it's an art, cooking steak by yourself. Yeah. Hey, Binary Chef, waves for us. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. Well, we're just chatting. It's a Friday, and this is kind of what I miss the most out in the community, being able to hang out with folks. So the green screens are off, the lights are off. I'm just chatting here. And folks who are joining us live here just now, this is Coded Live, and this is not a coding day today, at least for me, but we'll get back to a full week of agenda starting next week. All right, so Chad, let me ask you one other thing. Like, since you put together Codepalooza and you've been driving the community for such a long time, we are living through interesting times. Obviously, we have a global pandemic, and we have also recently seen a lot of cries for equality across all the fronts, social justice and all that. So diversity and inclusion is obviously important. How do you deal with it in your community, in your conference?
So we've always tried to do what to encourage it. Like one of the things we did earlier this year is there's the Global Diversity CFP Day, and so we ran one of those in Louisville, which was great. I mean, it didn't have a whole lot of numbers. I think we had 6 people that attended, but it was 6 people who are definitely underrepresented in the community. And I know for a fact that one of them is speaking at Codepalooza this year.
Nice.
Because she did submit. And it was great because actually I was working with her directly during the day. So when I saw her submission come in, I was so excited to see that.
Nice.
So I think we still have a long way to go. In my general attitude towards it all is, which and the same thing goes for my code of conduct is just be human beings, right? I mean, and be polite people. That's all we're asking for, right? Just treat everyone the same. No one's special. Especially, I find it stupid that people think you're special because of your skin color. I mean, it's all genetics and where your ancestors came from, because you're your color because where you came from there was more sun, right? It's
right. No, that is so well put, because until we're able to see humans just as humans, we cannot get rid of our prejudices and our biases.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then what you're doing is amazing. Even if that one life you're able to touch and uplift, that's doing something for your community. Yeah, and I mean, as we have seen, like diversity sometimes it's hard to force, and when you like force it too much, it shows, and that's not exactly what you're looking for. But it's just not everybody has the equal opportunity to. Sometimes we do have to uplift parts of our community. So yeah, thank you for what you do in your local community and for Codepalooza. All right, so let me ask you a trick question. If you had $1 million right now, given this is a fantastic year, what would you do?
I would. I mean, the boring part of it is I pay off all my bills and make myself more financially independent, but which will allow me to do more coding for good, right? I mean, I work for a company that so we're training the future of medicine, right? But I would have more time to help out with things that where they can't afford developers, right? And doing that type of work. That so it sounds boring at the beginning, but then it pays off, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I keep thinking about the kind of year that we have had, and it's honestly a little depressing sometimes. But we have to stay positive. We have to turn around and do the right things to give back. One of the quotes that really stuck with me is like, the best thing a leader can do is send a ladder down so you can uplift everybody else. And I also like what Satya Nadella, the Microsoft CEO, says, like, we can make a lot of impact in this community as software developers. We can change the world in our own small little way. So yeah, that's amazing that you would consider giving back. Yeah. All right, so Chad, where can people find you? I see the Tail Learn Code, but you're obviously on Twitter. I have Chad's Twitter handle down there. Yeah, and you stream.
I'm Chad Green most everywhere, other than Twitch because that name was gone.
Really?
Yeah, and when I started, it was Chadwick Green, so my actual first name is Chadwick. But every time I showed up as Chadwick Green, no one knew who I was. So hence I came up with Tail Learn Code, which the whole idea, we talk about it, we're talking about tales about software development. We're learning from each other and we're writing code, right? Hence where that name came from.
Sure.
So Tail Learn Code is I'm kind of building it as my brand. So when we do go back out speaking, I'm not going to change my name to Tail Learn Code, but under that brand, I'm going to be doing all that. But then there's Chad Green, and then there's Codepalooza, which is conference.
So tell us a little bit about this year's Codepalooza. When is it, and what you're doing leading up to it?
Well, sure. So Codepalooza is August 19th through 21st. Again, it's going to be completely online. And then leading up to it, we're actually having a lot of fun. We're on Tail Learn Code at least twice a week, apparently more often even that. We're actually interviewing speakers. Which I don't have you down there yet. You haven't signed up for a spot yet.
Yes, so I'm actually fortunate enough to be speaking here at Codepalooza this year, but yes, I will. And I delayed a little bit, and then I realized all of the slots were gone because you have quite a few speakers, and we are all
now we open up a whole lot more slots.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, I will definitely sign up. So,
but those have been fun. I've done 4 of those so far, and been a lot of fun. And I actually feel like I'm going to be like how Night Rocks, they end up recording like a whole bunch of episodes at one time.
Right.
And I have a couple days where I'm recording like 3 of these episodes. So I feel the same way.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of folks are recording podcasts live on stream because you get the live interaction. You see people, but you also get the nice audio out of it.
Exactly.
And I was watching, how all of the late night show folks are doing stuff from their homes. This is a weird time where it's uniquely social. You're seeing their homes, you're seeing their families. So Sean, W122, there's a lot of great speakers at Codepalooza. Yes. Yeah, so that's all thanks to Chad. So how everybody is kind of almost a producer, like a creator, where you're trying to come up with things.
It is amazing how in the last couple of years how technology's advanced.
Yeah,
it's become very easy to become a content producer.
Yeah, and
it's not easy to make good content. There's a whole different story, but technically wise, it's very easy to do it.
Yeah, and it's funny to kind of see the journey of other people as well. Some of the late night show hosts, they started off very basic, but they have, I mean, they obviously have a writing team, an editorial team, a video editing team, and things are starting to be pretty polished, even though they're doing it from their homes. And I think that's kind of what all of us are trying as well. Times are trying, so yes, everybody, please take care of yourself, take care of your families. Like they say, like this too shall pass. Yeah. So, Chad, any parting thoughts?
No, I mean, I think, some of your discussion was great. The whole, keep on going, right? I mean, the pandemic's hard, but I think for us as a society to continue to grow, we need to keep on growing, right? I always tell everyone, just build stuff, and doesn't matter if you throw it away later on, just build it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the experience, and yeah,
exactly,
that you're getting. Yep. All right. All right, so yeah, Binary Chef, Sean W., good to see you all. Chad, I want to thank you again for taking the time. I know you're super busy with work and all the community stuff that you do, but thank you for hanging out with me. This often is kind of the high spot for me in a week, because I actually get to talk to somebody in the community, just like what I would do if I was at a conference. And
exactly,
Chad and me are actually both car guys, so we have fun times when we are hanging out in person. Lots of fun conversations. All right, cool. So I won't take any more of your time, Chad, but thank you again so much.
Thank you.
And folks, you know where to find Chad online. Twitter right there, and then TailorCode. So come and hang out with us here at Coded Live whenever your time permits, and we shall see you next time. Okay? Bye-bye for now.